Welcome back to I Pick Passion and Funny. Today's episode is called The Most Fulfilling, Annoying, Tiring, Amazing Job. And if you guessed we're talking about motherhood, you're right. But we're also talking about purpose, faith, and what it looks like to juggle career, calling, and kids without losing yourself in the process. I'm joined by the hilarious and inspiring MegScoop, also known as Megan Thomas Williams, an actress, digital creator, host, and producer who does it all while keeping God first and her kids at the heart of her story. From her work at All Deaf and multiple podcasts to her thoughts on parenting and identity, this conversation is full of laughs, honesty, and that kind of I feel seen energy we all need. We talk about how motherhood has shaped her, why she jokes that after a certain time they can just call her Megan, and how she's learned to trust God through the chaos. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Meg. We got Meg
Hi.
here.
Hi, y'all. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good, hon. How are you?
First of all, I'm looking at your background. I'm like, this is amazing. This is really cute. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Is this not your background?
It's not my background.
But it looks like it really is.
That's the whole, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole
It
point.
looks good. It looks good. It looks good.
Yes. Well, thank you. Look, so I usually start the show off with an icebreaker. It's a game called Hella Awkward that I'm obsessed with. And it's 4 categories. I will give you the categories. You tell me which one you want, and I give you the question. You give me the answer. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
here we
So
go.
we got sex, we got relationships, we got dating, and we got real talk.
Oh, real talk. Let's just be real.
Come on,
Hey,
that's
no. Hold on. Let's go back. If everybody do it, I want to do what everybody doing. Let's do dating. Yeah.
okay. Dating. All right. Okay, that one's different. Okay,
Everybody want to do real. Okay, fine. I won't do that then.
that's right. Okay. So, do you believe in second chances for bad first dates? I know you're married, but when you were dating, do you believe in second chances for bad first dates?
Yeah, for sure. It depends though on how you redeem yourself, right? Like it could have been a
Uh-huh.
terrible first day and I'm like, I would never talk to this man again. But if you are like, okay, if you like own up to it and you're like, hey, it's terrible, I apologize, whatever, then
Uh-huh.
then I'm like, okay, well maybe, he's like, give me another chance. So then I'm like, okay, well maybe. Maybe we'll do it, yeah.
Second chances is fine. I think. Say, I mean, third chances. Now we pushing it.
Now
But
you're asking for too much. Okay, get it
that's
together.
but second chances, that's fair. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. All right, so we're gonna go back.
Okay.
Who was young Meg? Who were you, young Megan Thomas, as a kid?
I think I was very like I was an overachiever, okay? I was a people pleaser and an overachiever. I was like school A plus plus. I will not be in this school getting anything less than an A plus. If I get an A, questionable. If I get an A minus, I need to sit down with the teacher. Like I was that kid. I was a kid that was in the front of the class, hand always raised. The teacher would have to be like, "Okay, Megan, we gotta give somebody else another chance," and I'd be like, "Dummies." I feel like I was such an overachiever. I know it was a bit much, but I feel like I'm still like that. But now I can like I've gone to therapy, so I understand like, okay, why am I like this? So it's fine.
I love it. That is so funny that you were an oh, I can see that. You have that. I can see that about you though. Even now, I can see that you were that way. Like you have a almost like a type A type you know what I mean? You give type A. Like you
Yeah.
very much like perfectionist. It's
Oh
gotta
yeah.
be yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I will say since I've become a mother, I've become like more type B, which is crazy because I've always been type A, but like kids have a way of changing
Oh wow.
you and I can't believe like girl they be eating wherever their bedtime is whatever. Like I never thought I would be that mom. I'd be like, "Oh, is this plate clean? Looks good enough. Put the snacks in it. Let's go." Like I just hey, it is
I
what it
love
is.
that. I love that for you. I love that for you. Everything, and
I
look,
do
the
too.
reality is everything can't be perfect all the time. You know what I'm saying? And
Right,
kids,
right.
especially, I think, prove to you that look, life just be life and sometimes.
Right. They will tell you that you're not in charge of anything. Like, okay, you're right. I don't run none of this.
I love it. That's hilarious. Okay, so you've worn many hats. host, producer, actress, podcaster. How did you first get into entertainment? Like, what was the entry into that?
I think it was a calling, to be honest with you, because I always thought, to go along with my overachievingness, I never thought that being in entertainment was like a real job. I was like, you guys, it's because you can't be a doctor, lawyer, accountant. You don't have any skills, so you chose entertainment, right? I always thought that. And then I was like 20, how old was I? I think I was like 22, and I was working in an accounting firm. Okay. I was an accountant by day. And then something in me was just like, this ain't it. It's not
Hmm.
it. And every day I would go to work and I would just go to the bathroom and cry. And I'd just be like, because I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And I would just be like, all right, God, please let me start liking this job, like loving what I do, because I hate it here and I don't know why. I don't feel like I'm not supposed to be here, but like, where am I supposed to be? But something kept calling me to entertainment. I was like, I can't do that because like that's for untalented people, people with no skills. Like, I have skills. And God was like, no, you're one of those people that you're talking about. Go over there. So I ended up doing like a quick radio, TV broadcasting certification while I was working at the accounting firm. And they hooked me up with an internship, or I had to get an internship right after. And so I was working at the radio station as an intern in our morning shows. I would wake up at like 4, I'd go in at 5, I'd be there till 9 a.m. And then I'd go down the street, literally like 3 blocks to my accounting job, and I like put on my accounting clothes and walk in. I'd have lived a whole life, okay? People just walking into the office. And I did this like Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays, because we had like remotes for the radio show. But I did this for like 7, 8 months straight. And I was working at the accounting firm maybe like 60 hours a week. And then the radio station was like 30 hours a week. So I was
Wow.
like, I wasn't getting no sleep, but I didn't care because I was like, I gotta grind to see what happens with this. And so I was like
Yeah.
living this double life. And at the end of the internship, they were like, sorry, we don't have any jobs open, but if you like need a recommendation, like let us know. And I was like, okay. And then I did like a TV internship right after, and that one was even earlier. So at this point, I might have been sleeping like 2, 3 hours a night, and I could feel my body like breaking down. Because at this point, I'm getting close to a year of living like this. And thank God, I ended up getting a job in radio, moving from Atlanta to Dallas, like 2 weeks after I found out. I interviewed for the radio show, and the radio show was like a national show. You needed 5 years experience. I had like 8 months as an intern. They was like 5 years as a producer. I was like, well, I went back to the radio station. I was like, y'all said y'all gonna do something for me, right? I need y'all to recommend me. And they were like, okay. So they recommended me, and I got the job. And I moved 2 weeks later, moved to Dallas, didn't know a soul. And that's how I got my start. I was a news producer on a syndicated radio show.
That is amazing. That was a true calling. Like you
It
just knew.
was.
You were just new. And I won't number guys playing girl because for you
Right.
to not have the 5 years and then you landed it, I mean, come on.
That's why I said, he qualifies the call, because I sure was like, well, don't have that. So let's see what happens. And I was
Right.
there. I thought I would be there maybe 2 years. I ended up being there 4 years. And
Mm.
by my year and a half in, 2 years, I was already the most senior producer on the show. So, and then I also found out I was doing like 5 people's job. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. And the people equivalent to me had been in radio for like 15, 20 years. And when I told them and I met them, and they were like, wait, you do all of that? And I was like, yeah, you don't? They were like, no. And I've had this job for like, I've been in radio for 15, 20 years. How long you been in radio? I was like, 3 years.
Oh,
And they were
wow.
like, what? I said, well, it's nothing but God. And I was killing it. I was doing great. But I was young. I was like, that to me was boot camp, because, child, I don't know, I could do anything after doing that job.
No, that's right. I love that. Okay, that's an amazing story. Okay. All right, so you're involved with All Deaf and multiple podcasts. How do you balance being on air, like on air talent, and working behind the scenes?
I think being behind the scenes makes me better on air talent, because I have a producer's mind. So whenever I'm talent, I know what we need, basically. Whereas talent just shows up, right? They show up, who knows if they're gonna have a good day or not. I also deal with that. But as a producer, I also know, like, okay, we need a clip here, and let me say it like this because I know we can edit that. That's a cleaner edit. Like, I think like that. Whereas, people just be talking, and sometimes
Mhm.
if you just talk, 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 like, I can't edit that into a clip, where I can, but then it's choppy and it's like sometimes it's too much
Yeah.
work. I ain't got that much time, right? So as a producer, I can like go, okay, if I say it like this, that's an easy, clean cut. I tell my editor to do that. So I think it makes me better. And then on top of that, I also understand like what we're needing, what we're
Mhm.
needing behind the scenes. If it's like multiple episodes, okay, we've already talked about that. Let me bring a new angle in. Or let me say this, you know. So I just think it makes me better. And then also I read comments because I'm a producer. So I want to understand like what is the temperature of this? Like what is
Mm.
this attitude that I had, this stuff that I said, what's the temperature out there? And because I'm a producer, like you should
Mhm.
do that as a producer. You should know what kind of like how is your work performing for the audience, right? And also as the head of production, I'm the head of production for All Def, so that's very important for me for that job. But because I'm also in the content, I'd be like, oh, so they didn't like how I said that. Okay, let me adjust. Or sometimes it'll be like they didn't like how I said that, and that's perfectly okay. You know, so I think it just makes me a better talent.
Yeah, I can see how that could help. You know, it complements it well, but I can see how it kind of gives you the upper hand a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Or a lot of it.
I don't
So
know
yeah,
if it's an
I get
upper
that.
hand. I think it's
All right,
just
so can you
because here's
share
the
a
thing. I
moment?
don't think it gives me the upper hand. I think it changes because if you on All Death, there's nothing but like stand up comedians, right? It's a funny channel, comedic channel. I don't have a stand up comedy background. I've done stand up comedy 4 times, but like that's not my background, right? I think I bring something different, but I don't necessarily think it gives me an edge because I don't have the training that all the stand up comedians have that I work with. Like they're like going up,
Mm-hmm.
doing open mics every night. That's training. That's timing training. That's wit training. Like all of that. I don't have that. So I think I make up for it because I do have a producer's mind and it kind of like balances it out.
Okay. I can see that. Okay. Now I see what you're saying. So that
Yeah.
makes sense. Because you do a great job at with your comedic voice and timing. I don't know if it's just because you like you know, yeah, you do well. You
Thank
keep
you.
up very
Thank
well
you.
with the
Thank you.
stand-up comedian.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just because they just whooped my tail for years, okay? They roasted me to oblivion a billion times. So I think it was just like fight back, Megan, fight back.
Yes, you hold your own. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. So can you share a moment? No problem, of course. So can you share a moment in your career when you had to take a leap of faith? Or would it be when you started? Of course, that was a leap of faith in itself, but
That was I think moving to LA, something was always calling me west. So I went from Atlanta to Dallas to Vegas to Los Angeles. And I just something just kept
uh
calling me to Los Angeles and I just was like, I don't have family there. I visited like one time. So I don't know what it is, was like I need to go there. I need to go to this city for some reason. And
mhm.
after I left my radio job, I moved to Vegas for a summer and then I moved to LA. And that was a leap of faith because I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I was like, so maybe I'm acting, but like, I didn't really like acting like that, but I was like, I'm good at it. I can do it, you know? So
Yeah.
I think the first year I moved to LA, I was just it was really just a faith walk because, you know, I'm moving to a new city. I didn't have that much money. I had enough to sustain me for a little bit because I saved. But like I remember I moved where most people move when they move to LA, and that's Koreatown. Koreatown's very cheap, but it's also like literally every street is hit or miss. One street is like a good street. The one right after it, hood. Hood, drug addicts. The one after that, good. And then maybe the next street, half of the street's good. The other half, terrible. Like it's really hit or miss. And I remember I was looking at like 20 apartments in Koreatown, and I just happened to find
Mm,
this one on a good street, and I didn't even know it was a good street. I was like, "Oh, okay, this I guess this will work," and it was a blessing. And I think just moving out there, not knowing what God had in store for me, but it was just like, okay, I'm open. Let me continue to like work at my craft. You know, let me continue
mm,
to get closer to God because to me, you know, everything starts in the
mm.
spiritual realm before it hits the physical. So as long as I took care of that, I felt like the physical piece would be okay. And it turned out it worked.
Girl, amen. You preaching to me right now. Okay, well, anyway, because that just resonated with my spirit, and you don't even understand. But okay, all right. What's been the biggest lesson you've learned from podcasting?
Consistency. You gotta be consistent. And there's been plenty of times I wasn't consistent because I was like, ugh, life happens, right?
Right.
But I've learned as long as you're consistent, your fan base will grow. But I think some, you know, in this society, we're used to microwave, we're used to quick, instant. So if I put out an episode every week and I do it every week for 6 months and, you know, the number, I can't quit my job yet to be a full time podcaster. Like it doesn't happen that quick. Some people it does, but not most people, you know? So it takes a little bit and you have to go back to, well, why am I even doing this? If you're gonna podcast, like, are you just trying to be
Mm-hmm.
famous? Because the truth is, you'll get famous doing anything. That is your passion. So if you're passionate about your podcast or whatever you're talking about in your podcast, then it doesn't feel as much like work. You know, it is work, but it doesn't feel as bad. And then B, you'll be able to be more consistent with it, which is what grows numbers, which is what grows your audience. They need that consistency, whatever that consistency is. Whether you come, you know, you put an episode out every week, twice a week, whatever, once a month, whatever it is, as long as you keep up your consistency, the audience will grow.
Yeah. Yeah. That 100%. I concur. Okay. So do you have a dream guest, like someone that you would love to work with that you haven't worked with, whether that be interview them or work with them or in any capacity?
I used to say I always wanted to interview Oprah, but now I don't know if I want to. I think later in my life, I don't really think I care to interview her anymore. I feel like I've seen enough of her, I understand enough about her. I don't feel like I need to interview her. And the other person that is, this ain't it wasn't a dream interview before I had the interview, but then I interviewed this person and I was like, that was a dream interview. And it was Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry was an amazing interviewee. And I had
Uh,
such a good conversation with him. And it was when he opened Tyler Perry Studios. And BT hired me to be the interviewer for BT International. And I remember I was just like, yo, I'm really sitting here talking to this man. And it was just like I felt like the joy, just being so proud and happy. Like this was a very big accomplishment for him to buy a whole like military base, turn it
yeah.
into a studio, like the number one studio in the South that's competing with the WBs and the Paramounts and the, you know what I mean? Like he's doing it, and I could just feel that coming off of him. And it was a really, I mean, after I left there so inspired, and I was like, I'm about to be back in here. I don't know what y'all gonna have me in here doing, but I'm that inspired.
You can't, I don't think you can be in his presence and interview him and not be inspired. Like, I just don't feel like you can.
And
Yeah.
he was so nice. I've interviewed a lot of people in my career, and some of them are just a-holes. They're mean, and you can tell they're just there because like they're a PR person or they're contractually obligated to be there. But like there's some people who are just genuinely nice people, and he was one of them.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. Yeah, that's definitely amazing to hear. Okay, so with the rise of digital media, how do you see podcasting evolving in the next few years?
I would say beware of AI. I feel like it's here and it's not going anywhere, and it's gonna probably take over. So I think it's in our best interest to learn how to use it for ourselves. I've seen like some podcasts that's like two AI hosts, and I was
Yeah.
like,
What?
if you're not watching, you wouldn't know that these weren't real people having a
Mm-mm.
conversation about something they made up. So I think that just means we have to be more diligent about like, what we're consuming and what we're listening to and what we're believing. We have to do our own research
Mm-hmm.
and not just take the lazy way out and be like, let me just ask Chat GPT. Like sometimes you're gonna have to crack open a book. Like you may have to take it back to the library. This, you know how you used to crank to open like the make the library shelves move like that.
Yeah.
You might have to go crank, okay? Go crank and look something up because you know, I think there's AI is just going to be here and there's going to be a lot of podcasting and it's going to help podcasting, but it's also going to hurt the people who are not aware and who aren't just like on their toes and alert.
Agreed. That is so true. Yeah, AI is not going nowhere. That's for sure. I believe it's here to stay.
Yes.
That's for sure. So you have a great comedic voice, as we kind of already touched on. How do you
Thank you.
incorporate humor into storytelling? How do you incorporate that? Like, how do you weave that in?
I think I've learned that you just have to be authentic. And it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to do that sometimes because, you know, it's a very vulnerable place to be in. But I think if you're like, if you can laugh at yourself, then it helps you to like get through the vulnerable things in your life. And honestly, I just prefer to laugh at things, you know? I just like to, there's so many things that I could be serious about, but I'd rather just laugh at it. So I think
Oh.
that, right. You know, don't take yourself too seriously. It's okay to crack some jokes. I think
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, I do too many, or now I'm like, okay, maybe reel it back because there's situations in my life where I'm supposed to be serious and I'm not. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to be serious this time. So that now I'm learning to like, when do I need to be serious?
Right. The balance, right? Balance.
Right, right.
Okay, has there ever been a joke or moment that didn't land the way that you expected it to? And how did you handle that?
Every day, every day. I think it happens. I think it happens so much that I just be like, didn't work. Next. I think because you know, here's the thing. Because I've always been intimidated because I work with nothing but comedians. These are
Yeah.
stand-up comedians that work their material out 4, sometimes 5 days a week
Mm-hmm.
for years. For 20 years, they've been doing comedy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm here on platforms with them, and it's kind of like, well, I mean, most of my stuff probably ain't gonna hit, right? I don't practice this nowhere. Like, y'all practice this open mic. I don't practice this anywhere, so it's probably gonna fall flat, and that's okay
All
because
right.
nobody's expecting me to be stellar in these
Yeah.
streets when it comes to the jokes. So I just learned the more you throw, something gonna stick. So just throw, or just keep going, just
Just
keep
throw it
going
at the
as much as you
wall.
can.
Throw it at the
Right.
wall and see what lands.
See
I
what
love
sticks, man. Just keep going because something gonna
it.
land.
Something is going to. Oh my God. But as long as you keep trying, hey, right?
Yeah,
Failure
yeah,
is a
yeah.
part of it. It's okay.
It is, it is. And I think
But
like one thing that also like gave me a little more like validation, like, okay, you're okay, you're decent, was, and I, this is not to like down anybody that I work with, but I work with all men. And one thing that I've learned working with all men throughout my career is that they don't, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them don't tend to hear female voices. And when I
Mhm.
say that, I mean like they're like, okay, I hear you, but like whatever, and then will say exactly what you just said. And that has happened to me a few times, quite a few times, where I will say a joke, but it don't land. And nobody, like, they'll be like, eh. But then somebody else will take it and they'll say it and everybody laughs. And I'm like, now why is it funny? Because you said it. Like what is, and then they just like, because you said it, we're not laughing at you. And that's happened. And now it's like an inside joke. It's like a joke now on All Deaf because I'll literally say something and then one of the guys will say it and I'll be like, I just said that. And he'll be like, I didn't hear it. Or, you know, so, but I think that made me go, oh, well, it is kind of funny because everybody did laugh. So maybe I need to be your ghostwriter and write you some jokes. So I feel a little
Exactly,
better now.
right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the validation.
Right. It must have been funny if you wanted to take it. You know what I mean? You
Thank
took it, so
you.
it's funny. Okay.
Thank you. You gonna have to pay me to write your jokes. I'm fine with it.
That's so funny. All right. So, what's one of the funniest or wildest behind the scenes moments that you've ever experienced?
There is so many. Okay. So All Deaf used to have an office downtown LA. And like going into work every day was just like, I can't believe I work here. Like I remember I used to say that, like, I can't believe this is a real job. Y'all paying me to be here. Because it was just so much because they really were paying us to be like, just do whatever y'all want and then film it and put it on the channel. And during
Got
this era, it was just like we were putting maybe like 10 things on YouTube a week, which is a lot of content,
you.
but we were in the building stage of all that. So it's like that's under when you're in building, like you know, the algorithm got to find you. Just so we just putting up anything, and we used to do the most ridiculous stuff. I remember one time we did like I think we were doing a cartwheel. We were doing like I don't know why we were doing cartwheels. I think it was like Olympics. And we was like, let's see if everybody can do a cartwheel or whatever. And it was just so funny. And at that point, I remember nobody knew that To Hear More had these two guns tattooed on his back, like his lower back. Nobody knew that, right? And so we were
Yeah.
doing cartwheels and his shirt flew up and everybody saw them guns. We was like, what is on your back? He tried to cover it and so of course we're all like, nah. And we all lift his shirt to see his back and we're like, bruh, you got guns on your back? There's guns
That's
on your back? And we've never let him live that down since. And that was like a good 8, 9 years ago.
yes, that is hilarious. Yeah, to hear those
Yeah.
guns on his back is, and it's the tramp stamp. That's the tramp stamp, right? On the
Yes,
back
the
at the
champ
bottom.
stamp.
Like, yeah,
I said,
yeah,
oh
yeah, tramp
Lord. And we all because we were
stamp.
trying to be Olympians doing cartwheels. Like Olympians be doing cartwheels, right? Like they don't even do that. What were you doing this for? I don't know. But we had a
Right.
lot of moments like that. We had a lot of moments where like, and that was like the Russell Simmons era before he like stepped
Mhm.
down for, you know. And I remember he would just walk in and be like, hey, niggers. And we'd be like, what? Is this a job? And nobody's
Wow.
saying anything. Like, but it was just the culture. It's just like, okay, this is where we were.
That,
But it was fun. It was fun though. It was
but
fun. I'm not gonna front.
yes, to come to work every day and show up as yourself though, like who does
Love
not
it.
want to do that?
Yes.
You know what I
And
mean?
I will tell
Like
you, like, yes,
that's
working in corporate America and then being in this kind of environment, I was like, oh, I'll never go back to code switching. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. It's so much so that when the sales team get on and they be like, "Babe, you got to get on this call," I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to code switch anymore, guys. That skill was left me a long time ago."
I know
So I
that's
just
right. Never to return again. No, that's right. Okay. So, you juggle career, marriage, and motherhood. What's your secret to maintaining balance? Or is there a such thing as balance?
Child, no. Okay. Every day I'm like, something's suffering at this point. Something. It's always like, okay, this is suffering. Well, this is suffering. Okay, do more of this. Okay, wait, this is suffering. Do more. It's just, I don't know if there ever is a perfect balance. It's just, I just got to do it and make it happen. And knowing that it'll all be all right because God has blessed me with it all, right? Like, God knew what I was going to be doing. He knew how busy I was about to be, but he blessed me with this husband, and he blessed me with these kids, and he blessed me with this career. So it's like, okay, you gave these things to me, so obviously they
Mm,
will be okay. It'll work out, right? Because if it wasn't, then you would have just been like, that's too much on her plate. So I think
yeah.
I have to always remember that when it gets overwhelming. And then for me, it's kind of like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. Let's reevaluate, Megan. Like, what was it? Why are you
Mhm.
overwhelmed? Are you doing too much mothering? Okay, then go hang out with your friends a little bit. Do you feel like you need more time with your husband? Okay, hire a babysitter. Do you need to like put more time into like your creative projects? Okay, well, like plan that out, plan that in the day when the kids are gone at school or whatever. Like, so I think it's just a matter of me reevaluating why I'm unhappy in the moment. And usually
Mm.
it's because I'm like, I haven't checked in with myself. And as long as I check in, I'm usually pretty good. But like one thing I've learned is by 9:30, if them kids ain't asleep, then I'm off the clock. They're gonna have to put themselves to sleep. At that point, they can just call me Megan because I'm not your mother. At 9:30, I've clocked out of my shift in motherhood. So you want to stay up and eat these snacks with me? You want to watch the news with me? Like, what do you want to do? Because at this point, I'm clocked out. So I've learned, like, learn little things about myself, um, and just to check in with myself. And so I think when I do that, and then a lot of times the overarching like umbrella of all of it is where am I spiritually? Because I've learned that if I'm not spending enough time like reading, praying, worshiping, talking to God, then I'm all out of whack. I have no like center.
Mm,
I'm not like calm. I'm just
mm.
everywhere, and it's usually because of that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Bring you back to center. I love it. I love it. Wow. Okay, that's powerful. So you kind of mentioned it earlier about motherhood. How has becoming a mom changed your perspective on work and life? Like, how has it shaped, changed you?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably been the biggest change of my entire life. It was always like the type of person that's like, oh, you sleep when you dead, like hustle, 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 grind, grind, grind. I gotta make my dreams pop. Anything, I do what I gotta do out here. I work 5 jobs if I need to make my dreams happen. Like I was always very much fed into the capitalistic lie of grind until you're dead. And I
Mm,
think when I had kids, it was like, oh no, 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 that gotta flip. It's no longer
mm,
about my career. It's about my children and making sure their lives are what it needs to be. It's literally like my biggest job in the world. It's the most fulfilling, annoying, tiring, amazing job I've ever had,
yes.
all rolled into one, which is so weird to me because some days I'd be like, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back. And then as soon as I think that, I'd be like, oh, my baby just gave me a hug and said I'm the best mom in the world. Like, I can't leave now. Like, so it's like, they've taught me so much about myself, about, I think I've had to grow up in a lot of ways that I didn't know I needed to grow up. I have more patience. I still need a lot more, but I've gained a lot more patience. And like, I feel like, I've always kind of felt like, dang, I'm the new adult. Like, God made me the new adult. And then when I had kids, I was like, oh yeah, I got to be an adult here. Okay, let
Right.
me act my age. So yeah, I think it's really helped me in so many ways. They're like the funniest people. My son and my daughter are like super funny and they don't even know they're funny. And it's actually helped me with content, to be honest with you. I had started a whole podcast, Mommy Needs a Break, because of my journey through motherhood. So yeah, they've helped my life tremendously. They've blessed me tremendously.
Yeah, that's so amazing. That's special. It's funny because everyone says the exact same thing. Like it's the best, worst, annoying. Like that description that you just gave. That's what everybody says about motherhood. And I find that more women say that there is no such thing as balance. Like, when you have,
There's
you
not.
just gotta, but that's a question that we often, but everybody says it's really no such thing as balance. So you just figure it out. This might struggle a
Yeah.
little bit, that might struggle a little bit, but you figure it out. So
And then
I
our
love
other part is there's different seasons too. I think
it.
people forget that
Yeah.
even though there's like not a balance, there's different seasons. So like in the
Yeah.
season that I'm in, I've learned because my kids are little that
Mhm.
I can't nurture the friendships the way I did in the past. So the
Mhm.
friendships that survive right now are people who are also in the trenches like me, or who are okay with talking to me every 3 months, like no time has ever passed. People who are not okay with that, this season's not for me and them. But when my
Mhm.
kids get older, when they're, like 10, 15, then I'll be able to like put a different, like more time into different friendships. And so I
Yeah.
think like you just have to understand there's a season for everything. There's a season for whatever. Maybe your career has to take a little bit of a back burner while you nurture your family, but that's the biggest blessing. So it's not
Mm.
really a lose-lose situation. It's not a
Yeah.
lose situation to me. It's like, okay, don't worry. Like God knows how to redeem time. So when it's
Absolutely.
time, like it'll be like no time has passed. Your career will be thriving. You're fine.
Yes. Season. I'm like, so what season am I? What season would I say I'm in, right? I think I'm in the season of pivot. I think my life is pivoting
Okay.
right now. Like, I think my career and things that my mind is like, it's just pivot across the board. I think that's where I'm at.
Oh, that's a good. Oh, I like that. That's a good
Yeah.
place to be. It's scary,
Yeah.
but it's a good place to be. I always say, in your pivot, choose the path of peace, because it may not be like you always know which path gives you a little more peace, even if it's scary, even if it's like, I don't know what lies down that road.
Ooh.
Something about it just gives me peace. So that's the road you have to take. And I think people are always just like, there's so much going on. I don't know what to do. Like, which path gives you more peace? Even if it's like, I won't have the money, I won't have, the security, but something about that gives me peace. That's
Oh,
where you
Meg.
got to go.
Yeah, Meg. You hit on it right there, girl. I ain't even tell you nothing because I could talk to you offline, but I ain't gonna share all this, right? Because this ain't
Yeah,
about
yeah,
me.
yeah.
This ain't about me. But some things I can't say in this moment. But let me tell you, you knew exactly what to hit on. Okay, so what advice would you give to women trying, as we were talking about balance, trying to balance personal and professional goals?
Give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're, and just know that whatever choice you make, it's going to be okay. I think sometimes it'll be like, okay, well, I'll put more time into my family, but then my career takes a back burner. And then will I get the promotion, or I didn't get the promotion this time? Like, it's because I didn't put more time in, with my job as I should have. Or on the flip side, people are like, I pursued my career. Now I'm a woman in my 40s and I don't have family,
Yeah.
right? Like, but I still desire a family. So like I put all that into my career for what? Like I always just say, give yourself grace, because nobody has the right answer, and none of like there's a pro and a con to everything. So even if the life you live now, you're like, well, if I had chosen this, that
Yeah.
still wouldn't have been amazing either. Like there's pros and cons to that choice. So
Yep.
whatever choices you've made, just know like God will take care of it. Like again, he will redeem the time that you lost for any mistakes that you've made. So that's why I put air quotes, because like, is it really a mistake if it ended up helping you
Right.
in the long run in a way that you didn't even know was going to help you? So
Mm,
just know that like give yourself grace. It's fine. It's the
mm.
choices you've made were the right choice for you at that moment. Even
Yeah.
if you look back and be like, "Ooh, that was terrible." It was right for you at that moment, and God knew you was gonna make that choice, and He also aligned everything else in the future as a result of that choice. You're fine.
It led you exactly where you are supposed to be and where you are right now. So that's why it was really a mistake. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, what keeps you motivated when things get tough in your career?
Okay, so I'm kind of a churchy lady,
Go
as if you
ahead.
can't tell at this point.
No.
But I'm very into like biblical stories.
Yes.
So I like to learn about biblical stories. I like to read them. What happened? How did that happen? Like, what was the context of that time? I'm like a for real Bible nerd, okay? I'm gonna look up, and so like Bible study is very hard for me because I can't just read what's there. I have to like I literally Google historic, like what was this region? What was this called? What is this called in modern times? Because it's not called that now. Like, what is it called now? What region is this? What year was this? Who was the king during that time? I have to read the Bible in like three or four different versions. So
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm like that. It takes up so much time. But I do that when it helps me when I'm going through and I don't really know, like, I don't know, I feel like down about my career, or I feel like, oh no, like, what's going to happen? I feel like there's a Bible story for that. So I'll go look it up, or I'll know about it already and just go like research and find something new about it. And it always like refreshes me and renews my spirit to be like, okay, girl, ain't nothing new under the sun. Like, you got this. You keep going. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Work out
Yeah.
the faith. Like, it just like renews me, and then I'm back at it.
Back at it. That's
Yeah.
amazing. It's ain't nothing wrong with that, girl. Ain't nothing wrong with that. First of all, we all need that in our life. Okay.
God, I'm a little churchy. I'm like, I don't
Ain't
want
nothing
to
wrong
tell
with
people
being
that, because they be like, you are a nerd. Who does that? Who goes to look up and see who's like, what is modern day Kush? What is modern day, like, all
yeah.
this? Where do
But
they speak Aramaic at? Like, who cares, Megan? I don't know why I care about these things, but I do.
you care about it. It's okay. Have I ever done that? No, I've never looked at
No, girl, nobody has. I don't know. Nobody has ever done this. I don't know why.
but when I need the answers, I know where to come. So
There you go.
whatever.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
Yes, ma'am. That's hilarious. So, okay. So, if you could go back and give young Megan one piece of advice, what would it be?
You are enough. I think I would. When I look back at different time periods, I would wonder if, like, when I was in my acting phase, like 50 other girls would be in the audition room looking just like me, but cuter. And I'd be like, oh gosh, like, am I going to get this? Is my acting good enough? Am I prepared enough? And the truth is, like, they was looking for somebody that was 5'2". They really didn't care that day. They didn't care about
Exactly.
the job. We just need somebody shorter than the actor. He's 5'4". Like,
Right.
we just need someone
Yeah.
5'2" today. You know what I'm saying? And here I am, like, am I prepared enough? Did I read this with the right reflection? Like, they didn't care. So I would go back and tell Megan, like, you're enough, girl. Just go in every room, in every space you're at, just be you. And
Mm,
those who are meant to be in your life will be there. And those who don't understand or accept it will not be there. And that's okay. Just be you. Because I always
absolutely.
use the analogy, like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. Because for the chai lovers, they love me. The English grade, they not gonna like me. The breakfast teas, they just gonna skip me. But the chai tea lovers, they love me, and I love them. And so you have to remember, like, every cup of tea ain't for everybody.
Every cup of tea ain't for everybody.
There you go.
A word right there. Okay. All right. What's a passion outside of entertainment that people might not know about you?
Oh gosh, I already told you, girl, researching the Bible in ways that nobody does. I,
Okay. We're going
it's
back to
really like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go to seminary school. And people are like, oh, you want to preach? And I was like, no, I don't have the desire to preach. I do have the desire to learn, like, learn
the.
everything. I don't know
Mhm.
why, but like, I
Hmm.
really do like enjoy that. I love, like, learning about, that area, the Middle East, Northeast Africa, like, something about that. I just
Mhm.
love learning the history behind it.
Yeah.
And then, like, bridging the gap between that and what's happening today and how all that works. So I think people tend to look at that and be like, oh, all that old historic stuff. And they don't
Mm.
really, they don't make the connection that the Bible or the word God is real and is, like, here today and makes and matches with
Yeah.
the, like, understands what's going on today. And so I like to
Mhm.
make that connection to certain things, and that takes a lot of research. And that's really what I just be doing. I just be researching.
Wow. Okay. So, in your research, now this wasn't even, I'm just asking now, and this is a question, this wasn't even on but in your research, what have you connected? It's from what's happened and where we are today. What is your,
Oh,
if
girl,
you had to
I
like
don't think we
summarize,
have. You don't have enough
really
time
deep,
on
but
here. That's a whole other part two. We have to do a whole part two on that. Um,
okay, okay.
what will I say? I
We can
will
do
say that it. I would just say it's starting. I'm starting to see things that I was like, and I just tell people, like, learn for yourself.
that.
Honestly, like, I can tell you stuff, but the truth is, you just don't have to learn for yourself, because most times The stuff that I say you wouldn't even believe anyway. So the
Wow.
only way you're gonna believe anything, you just gotta learn for yourself, and you'll see it with your own eyes once you search for yourself. So that's what I
Okay.
was gonna say. Just do your
Okay.
own search. Just go like this with the Bible, boom, and start there. Like don't even boom. Just pick something, and I'm sure the Holy Spirit will give you what you need.
I agree. I was curious because I mean, I can see, I mean, I believe, I never, if I'm entirely honest, have I like read the Bible cover to cover? No. Like, you know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
I have not. So, but I know enough and I know the stories and I know I definitely can believe the connection between, because what's going on today is not by just,
Right.
happenstance. Like, no, this is
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And then
Mm,
I gotta look this up because this is something that I've just like the TikTok. I be on Bible Talk, girl, and like I just learned this. I was like, but I gotta do more research. So like, if you look in the old, I'll share this. When you look in the Old Testament and you read about the Ark
mm,
of the Covenant, which is what the Jewish people had before they had like a temple at a church. That was like God person, like it was kind of like their symbol of God moving with
mm,
them wherever they went. There was rules attached to it. They had to build it a certain way. Certain
mm,
people could touch it. There's a lot of like things that God laid out for them about this Ark of the Covenant that had like I think Aaron's staff. It has the Ten Commandments and it has manna in it. And people are like, they think all these artifacts are gone, but the truth is,
mm.
and I just learned that apparently it's on the CIA website, and I was like, wait, like the real CIA, like
Really?
CIA.gov or whatever. I gotta go look it up because I just heard that, but I think
Yeah.
it's true because there's another reason why I think it's true. But basically, the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia, and a lot of people knew that, and they've been saying that for years. But now, like the CIA knows, and I'm like, but why does the CIA care?
Right.
That
That's
why does the
interesting.
CIA care? So that to me, because again, why do you care about anything unless you think it
Yeah.
has power, unless you think it's important?
Absolutely.
You see what I
100.
mean? So, so I was like, let me go, but I gotta go look at this. And then I saw someone on there. Somebody was like, yeah, there's like the whole Adam and Eve story on the CIA website. I was like, y'all got to be kidding me. Why is that on there again? Let me
Are you
go look it up. They
I'm
put new documents out because I think people are just like they're not gonna believe it. But my question is, I've always questioned things, and I'm like, but why do y'all care unless you
yeah,
know it's true?
absolutely.
So then
Absolutely.
it, you see what I'm saying? Like if the
Yeah.
government thinks it's true,
Then
thing we should
okay.
all be looking into.
Absolutely.
It's probably true, guys. God's
Probably
probably real. I'm just gonna say it.
probably
Actually, I know he is, but you
if
should
it quack like
probably
a
just
duck, if it quack like a duck, it's a duck.
right. So just so that's why I always encourage people just do your own study, do your own research,
Yeah.
find out for yourself. And I feel like just I say, God help me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just learning. And I feel like you'll get all the answers you need.
That's powerful, Meg. Okay. 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 Kind of have a follow-up question. Okay, I'm gonna ask. So, how long have you always like, did you grow up like really like with this curiosity or spiritual as a kid? Like, did you grow up in the church? I'm assuming you did. I knew that already because
Yeah, yeah.
I know that you were churchy. So you grew up, so that was always something that you were curious about. You were always curious about that.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
I was a
Oh,
5 day
okay.
a week church kid because I had to be, not because I wanted to be. Okay.
Oh,
Me and my
okay.
friends, who are my best friends to this day, there's like 8 of us, and
Mhm.
three or four of us went to the same church growing up. So we was all there 5 days a week, and we hated it. And we would have to go to like church conferences. We threw a party. We was like, we weren't like the ideal church kids. We was there because we had to be.
That's
But
so
like, so I
funny.
wasn't always like this.
Mhm.
But I was always curious. I always did ask a lot of questions, whether it was in school. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and my line name is Red Inquiry because I ask so many questions. I just, I'll just say that I ask a lot of questions. Also known as like interrogating because I'm a 10 and I be questioning. They're like, you guys like it, but that's how I learn. I have to ask questions. And like when I met my husband, he was annoyed because he was a street dude. And he was just like, why you ask so many questions? Like, you the feds? And I was like, no, like that's how I learned. So it's just like, we had a little laughter trying to understand each other, but obviously it worked out. But Like, yeah, I asked a lot of questions. And so now in this day and age, growing in my faith, I ask questions, but I also believe like that that's what we're supposed to do. I feel like we
Yeah.
all should be asking questions. I think God loves questions. Yeah.
Absolutely. First of all,
Ask the
that is
questions.
you sound like me, and I'm sitting here like, dang, because I know I am like, well, I love to ask questions. I mean, clearly that's why I do what I do. I'm a podcaster, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I've always had a curious mind. I've always like wanted to know and like inquire, like, so what is this and how does this work and why? What's your story? Like, I've always wanted to know. I ask questions too, girl. Relationships,
Right, right.
I'd have been there too. Like, why you ask so many questions? Because that's what I want to know, and that's how I get to know you, and
Yeah. It's how
that's
I
the problem.
learn. It's just
I don't know what to tell you.
if you don't, and if I'm not asking questions, then you can already know my mind is somewhere else. I could be looking at you and just shaking my head.
Exactly.
Just know I've been checked out. I'm over here. I'm on an
You
island
should
in
be
my brain. I
concerned.
don't know what you said.
When I
Right,
stop asking
right.
questions, you're concerned. You should be like, well, I guess this a wrap. But anyway,
Yep,
what's
exactly.
exactly? So, what's next for you, Meg? Any exciting projects coming up? Anything you can share? Want to share? What's going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, yes. So there is, I started my own podcast. Well, I've done a bunch of podcasts, but like I started my own. It's a biblical podcast called The Cultured Parable. And I'm still like, I'm a firm believer, just do it and like figure out the inner workings like as you go. Cause I'm still kind of trying to like working out like, what does this show look like? I just feel like God put it on my heart, but I'm still working out like
Mhm.
just the details of it. But I've put out a few episodes and I'm like, revamping it already. So you can check out the Cultured Parable on the Mommy Needs a Break Network on YouTube. And then I'm
Mhm.
also writing a TV show. Like this is a like a primetime TV show, which is crazy because I've
Uh-oh.
never I've always been a good writer, but like writing for a show is different than like being a good writer. And so I feel like God is moving me in like using another one of my gifts in a way that I never really thought I would do.
Yeah.
But it's a huge undertaking because as you as you already know, I'm a researcher, so I can't just like write. I gotta like research. What is
Yeah.
the scene? What are they doing here? Why are they here? I have to answer these
Mhm.
questions. So it's very intense.
Mhm.
And it's been in the works for a few years now as I like get more skills as a writer because I again didn't think I'd ever be writing anything. Yeah, so just working that out, putting my first episode together for that. Yeah.
I'm so happy and excited for you. Yay. And it's
Thank
so funny
you.
that we were talking about all the Bible and we just kind of segue right into the podcast. So that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. I mean, it's
That's
tough. I will say
what we got to
it's
say. I'm
probably
sorry.
the toughest. No, I'm sorry. It's probably the toughest thing I've ever done though, because I'm used to being on a camera and talking. Like I've been doing that for 10, 15 years. But like this
Mhm.
is different because I can't just show up and go the way I do with other shows. I have to research and I can't just research. I gotta like pray. I gotta like
Mhm.
be in the right spirit with God. I can't just show up. And I think that's probably been the hardest thing for me because it's so like second nature for me to show up and do amazing on a show. Like I can just talk. I know which way to, move the conversation, but this ain't that. And so I think that's been a big shift for me because I realized like, oh, Bible bag. Oh, okay. I can't just
Yeah.
turn the mic on and
Yeah.
go, oh no. So yeah.
It sounds like to me that someone, and I know you said that you're not trying to be nobody's pastor or preacher when you ain't trying to go to seminary, but
Oh
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying, I
No.
mean,
I mean, I'll probably go to seminary, but I don't think I'll be I don't feel like I should be preaching. I feel like I'm too, I just want to learn. I just want to learn.
what about a youth pastor? What about a youth pastor? That sounds like that seems like something that you maybe could do.
No,
Maybe. I don't
I don't
know.
know. I don't know. Maybe,
We
maybe
don't
you
know.
speaking. Go ahead,
It
girl.
just
Speak into
seems
the,
like some
I just, I'm just going to be like open to whatever God has for me. I don't think it's that, but hey, if that's what it is, it is. I feel like I'm just here to learn. So God, show me what you want me to learn.
Yes, yeah. But you're already speaking his word. You're preach. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're already doing the work. Well, I mean, I just, it just seems like something that I don't know. If God lands it on your spirit, I mean, hey, I'm just saying.
But from your lips to God's ears, Erica, okay?
Yes. But anyway, look, that's all I have for you, Meg. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for having me.
on.
It was so delightful having a conversation with you.
Yeah, it was.